Pacerlaku arena ponyonara Bapak tani setedu ponce ke Ngala arek solandu torja penga Ajelena kisaran kewajiban Atatamen banyak hasil kumina Mama morna kereklaban pengsana
Pacerlaku arena ponyonara Bapak tani setedu ponce ke Ngala arek solandu tercapengan Ajelena kisaran kewajiban Atatamen banyak hasil peminat Mama morna.
Good afternoon, Dr. Fargesi. Welcome on board. Nice to see you again in this conference.
Selamat datang kepada Bapak Mulyadi.
Mbak, Pak Mulyadi dijadikan co-host, Mbak. Sama Dr. Fargesi juga.
Pak Mul sudah Bapak, sudah jadi co-host.
Oke.
Dr. Fargis sudah juga.
Oke, sip. Thank you.
Dr. Atul sudah.
Yes.
Hello, dear brothers. How are you?
Fine, sir. And how are you?
I'm
Nice to
fine.
see you
Really,
all
it's,
again.
yeah,
Nice
nice
to
to
see
see you again. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
great.
It's still in the same institution, such in the previous conference that you already joined with us.
Okay.
Yeah, in the first conference we joining with the other unit, but for today we are going to help with the Tarbiyah or educational faculty that
Okay.
joining with you again. What time there, Dr. Fargesi?
It is 11:30 now. 11:30 morning.
11:30 now?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think it's one
Again,
day.
thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Yep.
1 hour, 30
yeah.
minutes ahead of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Dr. Fargesi, if you don't mind, would you like to share with us, to send us the copy of the material that I'm going to present for today? Yeah. Such kind of in PowerPoints or PDF files.
Okay, I shall send you after my presentation. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Okay,
in.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. Okay,
Itu,
thank you.
apa?
Thank you.
Aduh, sini.
It's with me. Okay. Let me check my audio. One second.
Iya.
Menghadapnya kamera. Iya, udah bisa. Saya kasih tahu. Tak bahas. Ipin.
Udah mau mulai apa? Belum.
Saya ini pembukaan.
Opening speech.
Opening speech
Ini speak ya.
dari Pak Dekan
Stop videonya lo dimatikan. Stop video.
untuk membuka
Membuka. Pakai Indonesia apa Inggris nih?
English lah.
Inggris ya. Sedangkannya Pak Dekan kan bahasa Indonesia.
Iya, kan Bapak ada bonus Inggris.
Boleh, gak apa-apa.
Apa saya ada lihat?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
The opening is about to start. Welcome and thank you for all of the participants and our speakers for joining the Tarbiyah International Online Seminar. First of all, let us pray and praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Due to His bless and mercy, we can come together with it without any hindrance here with healthy condition. In the Tarbiyah International Online Seminar on the theme Optimalizing the Use of Social Media for Teaching and Learning in the Post-Pandemic, organized by Tarbiyah Faculty of State Islamic Institute of Madura, Indonesia. Second, let us greet and pray to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who had brought us to the path of light and left the darkness in this life. The Honorable Dr. Muhammad Qasim MAG, Rector of IAIN Madura, Indonesia,
Okay.
Dr. Atikullah MPDI, the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, and our speakers, Dr. Varghese from Christ College Autonomous Kerala, India, Dr. Atul Pati PhD from School of Holistic Development, MIT Art Design and Technology University, India, Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba Asad, Head of Educational Technology and TVET Research at Sukur IBA University, Pakistan, Dr. Ali Al-Matari, Head of the Department of Educational Technologies, North Sharqiya Education, Oman, Bapak Mulyadi SSMPD from IAIN Madura, Indonesia, and Bapak ABD Ghafur, IAIN Madura, Indonesia. And all participants of the Tarbiyah International Online Seminar. First of all, let's sing the national anthem Indonesia Raya.
Coba sambil ketikkan. Di sana, coba sampaikan dibuat sebutan. Singkat aja.
second occasion is recitement of Tilawatil Quran by Siti Ainur Mutmainnah. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Badi'us samawati wal ardh. Anna yakunu lahu waladu wa lam takul lahu sahibah. Wa khalaqa kulla syai'in wa huwa bikulli syai'in alim. Dzalikumullahu rabbukum la ilaha illa huwa khaliqu kulli syai'in fa'buduh. Wa huwa ala kulli syai'in wakil. La tudrikuhul absar wa huwa yudrikul absar. Wa huwal latiful khabir. Qad ja'akum basairu mir rabbikum faman absara falinafsihi ومن عمي فعليها وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ. وكذلك نصرف وليقولوا درست ولنبينه لقوم يعلمون. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, to know more about Tarbiyah Faculty of IAIN Madura, let us show you the Tarbiyah Faculty video profile.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam profetik. Fakultas Tarbiyah, religius, kompetitif. Fakultas Tarbiyah mempunyai visi menjadi pusat pengembangan pendidik dan tenaga kependidikan yang religius dan kompetitif berbasis nilai kearifan profetik. Sedangkan misinya adalah yang pertama, menyelenggarakan pendidikan dan pembelajaran secara holistik, religius dan kompetitif berbasis nilai kearifan profetik. Yang kedua, menyelenggarakan penelitian, pendidikan dan kependidikan secara komprehensif, religius dan kompetitif berbasis nilai kearifan profetik. Sedangkan yang ketiga adalah menyelenggarakan pengabdian dan pemberdayaan secara integratif, religius dan kompetitif berbasis nilai kearifan profetik. Dan yang terakhir adalah menyelenggarakan administrasi, manajerial dan kepemimpinan Fakultas Tarbiyah yang unggul, religius dan kompetitif berbasis nilai kearifan profetik. Wal-afu minkum wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Next is opening speech. The opening speech will be delivered by Bapak Muhammad Mosleh MPD. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you. Time given. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'il mursalin sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'du. The dear Rector YIN Madura and the Vice Rector 1, 2, and 3 of YIN Madura, Honorable the speakers, international seminars, praise to Allah. There is no one say thanks to Allah has given me praise and mercy. Salawat and salam remain to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who bring us to the dark and to the lights. Okay, it is international seminar held by Tarbiyah faculty on the theme Optimalizing the use of social media for teaching and learning in the post-pandemics. On behalf of the Dean Tarbiyah faculty, I do appreciate these seminars, and I hope you can get practical insight about the social media for teaching and learning. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all attendants. Thank you all participants join in these seminars. If there's no appropriate word, please forgive me. Thank you very much. I open this event by saying Basmalah. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we come to the main session, let us start this international online seminar by reciting Basmalah, so that the event that we hold on this day will run well without any obstacle. Pray based on individual beliefs. Begins. Done. The seminar session will lead by our beautiful moderator, Ibu Fitriah Rahmawati.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, the seminar session is about to start. But before we start the seminar, I think we should check the audio or the microphones. So please, all speakers, please kindly turn on your microphone and you can say something or you can say hello to all participants to make sure that your microphone is already on and the audio is clear. So please, Dr. Fergusi, are you there?
Hello. Hope you can hear me. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, it's clear.
Clear, right.
Thank you, sir.
So good afternoon all.
Yeah, good afternoon. Okay, next, Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba As'ad. Are you there? You can say something or say hello to all participants. Oh, okay, let's move to the next speaker. Dr. Abdul Ghafoor. Pak Ghafoor, are you there?
Hello, yeah, good afternoon there.
Okay, thank you, sir. And then Mr. Mulyadi, are you there?
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. And yeah. Dr. Atul Patil, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start the seminar sessions. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, IAIN Madura, all distinguished speakers and all participants in Zoom meeting and YouTube viewers in our YouTube channel of Fakultas Tarbiyah IAIN Madura. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Let's send our greatest gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings and mercy for us, so we can attend this online seminar this afternoon. Salawat and salam and be always upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alaihi. Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fitri, a moderator of today's seminar, and it is a great honor for me to welcome you, dear all speakers and participants, on the international online seminar held by Tarbiyah Faculty of IAIN Madura on the theme Optimalizing the use of social media for teaching and learning in the post-pandemic. For your information, the seminar is conducted through Zoom meeting platform and is also streaming out via YouTube channel of Fakultas Tarbiyah IAIN Madura. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the theme of today's seminar is Optimalizing the use of social media for teaching and learning in the post-pandemic. In line with the theme, at least there are 3 keywords. Yeah, the first one is social media, teaching and learning, and post-pandemic. Social media. We are so familiar with this term. Yeah, social media. Simply, we consider that Facebook, Instagram, blog, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, WhatsApp, and Telegram as a kind of social media. At least we realize that the social media platform here can facilitate us to connect with others, sharing information, and however, it cannot be rejected that this platform is mostly used for entertainment. So how if we use social media for teaching and learning process? Is it possible? Yeah. So in this seminar, we will talk about this. And I think nothing is impossible. Yeah, social media for teaching and learning process is possible, especially within the situations right now. Yeah, in the past pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, we will discuss anything in line with social media for teaching and learning, and we will discuss how to deal with the situations, especially after pandemic of COVID-19. Yeah, and we have 6 experts that we talk about this. They are Dr. KJ Fergusi from India, Dr. Atul Patil from India, Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba As'ad from Pakistan, and Dr. Ali Al-Matori from Oman, Mr. Mulyadi and Mr. Gofur from Indonesia. Unfortunately, one speaker, Dr. Ali Matari from Oman, cannot join this seminar. So please send our deepest condolences on the loss of his father. May he get a beautiful place up there. Allahumma ufir lahu warhamhu wa'afihi wa'fu anhu. Here we go. Let's start the seminar. For all participants, if you have any questions in line with the topic today, feel free to ask, and you can state your questions in the chat box, in Zoom meeting, or in our YouTube channel. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. KJ Fargesi from India. Yeah, Dr. Fargesi is an associate professor of English at Christ College, Irin Jalakuda, affiliated to the University of Calcutta, Kerala, India. He is an MA in English language and literature and has a degree in education. His doctoral degree is in English language teaching through information communication technology, and he has two postgraduate diploma to his credit, one in journalism and the other in English language teaching. He is a member of doctoral committees in several universities and a PhD adjudicator in 5 universities in India. His areas of interest are technology in education, NLP, and language and technology. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Fargesi. Dr. Fargesi, good
Hello.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And PhD.
Good afternoon, Indonesia. It's good morning in India, but good afternoon.
All right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
nice having you all. Hope, ma'am, you have made me co-host so that I can present my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it gives me immense pleasure to address you, the teachers and students of this university, and I would like to thank each and every one for giving me an opportunity to address you all. And the topic for the day is optimizing the use of social media in teaching and learning process. So it's quite interesting, especially in the pandemic times or in the post-pandemic times. We will have to use these different media and ICTs, information and communication technologies, in our teaching learning process. So here, it's a golden opportunity to use these profusely in teaching learning process. So when you speak of social media and also ICTs, ICT is an umbrella term, whereas the social media, but if you were to ask me if there is a difference between ICT and social media, I would say it's conceptually different, but it is intertwined and inextricably connected, that when we mobilize it for teaching and learning, they converge. They are almost the same. And social media is often takes that term because of social networking possibilities, whereas ICTs are used for, again, retrieving, then storing and delivering information through the latest technologies. With this short introduction, since I'm the first speaker, I have to set the ball rolling. So I'll be speaking in general about the challenges and also the tips for incorporating these different technologies at different levels of our teaching learning process, and how we should have a mindset to use it effectively in our teaching learning process, so that in the new normal, that is the post-pandemic time, would be a new normal where we can very effectively use all this media, maybe in a blended form of teaching learning process, so that our students are maximum benefited. And with this short uh, introduction, let me move on to presenting my screen. So I would be speaking on the digital transformation of education in the post-COVID scenario. Hope it's visible for you. Hello, ma'am. Is it visible? Yes. So when we speak of the use of this different social media platforms for our teaching learning process, it's quite clear that we are in fact having a digital transformation of education. And what exactly is this digital transformation of education? Education, as we all know, is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. And digital transformation means transforming an organization's core business to better meet customer needs by leveraging technology and data. So naturally, the social media platforms which we use for this purpose is in fact part of the digital transformation of education. And in education, we know our target customers are students, and the other stakeholders are the faculty, staff, alumni, and others. So in a way, when we use this social media for education, when we use these ICTs for education, that would help all these stakeholders. And this would be maybe a graphical representation of a transition from physical to digital. That is a transition from physical to digital in the sense the slate or that a physical, writing tool to the digital tool, iPod or the computer screen. And when we speak of digital transformation of education, it is aimed at transforming the student experience, and it includes recruiting students digitally using social media and text messaging as part of data-driven decision process. And I would like to tell you that almost admissions are over in our state, okay, in Kerala. And naturally, the admissions were 100% through digital platforms. Okay, and this admissions to a certain extent, though it took a bit more time, it was a bit time consuming, it was perfectly done. Then another experience would be providing a variety of online learning options. So students have enough courses to choose from at key points in their academic career. So this is also possible when the digital transformation is effected in our teaching learning process. And working with faculty and programs to convert courses to flipped and blended models. This is going to be a post pandemic situation where we will have to depend on flipped classrooms and blended models of classrooms, so that, see, we can keep, of course, the social distancing can be kept, and the COVID protocols or the new normal protocols can be kept effectively while the teaching learning process is transacted. Then another important aspect is partnering with industry to provide digital badges and certificates to enhance career opportunities for our students. So, in a few words, these are in fact the student experience, okay, which is aimed through by digital transformation and use of these kind of social medias in teaching learning process. And when we come to social media, use of social media in education provides students with the ability to get more useful information, to connect with learning groups and other educational systems that make education convenient. So they are given a big platform. See, other than the face-to-face instruction, here the students are getting a lot of chances to interact with others. That is the special feature of social media platforms. A lot of interaction is possible. See, maybe with blogs, we have blogging, and we have other social media like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Telegram, and we have also other discussion groups, wikis, and all these would in a way help our students for information exchange, not only for students but also for teachers to professionally develop. So here what happens is to connect learning groups, and naturally there are so many learning groups available, especially in the form of digital boards or discussion boards, e-forums. And it helps the students to a certain extent to become, in a way, independent learners. So social network tools afford students and institutions with multiple opportunities to improve learning methods. So if you could incorporate the yeah, the advantages of these social networking tools and ICTs into our teaching learning process, that would benefit our students very much, because most of our students are digital natives. Most of our students are digital natives and they love this way of learning. So they'll be very comfortable, especially when they are. But of course, the face-to-face teaching is also important. So a kind of blended platform, blended teaching would be very effective. And if I were to ask, who led the digital transformation of education? See, we know the educational agencies. I've mentioned the educational agencies in India, like UGC, University Grants Commission, and MHRD, the ministry, and NCRT. But if I were to ask who led, and they were very frantically trying to enhance digital transformation of education, but in fact it was the COVID that has helped this digital transformation of education, okay, in a very quick manner. So when we think of this way of digital transformation of education, it is nice to have what are the effects of COVID on education. Okay, see, we are in fact asked to change. There's a big challenge in front of teachers, because we are asked to what you call transform the basic beliefs and basic tenets and principles of teaching learning process, which we thought will happen only in the classrooms. Okay, and there are positive outlooks and negative influences. And let's see what are the positive outlooks. Because with this, the stage is set for use of these kind of platforms, these kind of ICTs and social networking medias in the teaching learning process. Otherwise, we would have never, we would have done it, but on a very later occasion. So it has been fastened. It has been, in a way, it was done very quickly. And what is the positive outlook? Opening new avenues in the field of education is one of the positive aspects of use social media and ICTs. Opening new venues in the field of education. Now we have come across a lot of ICT tools, a lot of social networking platforms and social media, and we are trying to incorporate these into our teaching learning process. Another one is paving way for learning new resources. See, we have learned new resources which can be effectively used for our teaching learning process. Another one is giving an opportunity to experience new technology interventions. Because of this, pandemic, okay, although we are going through difficult times, we have been introduced to a lot of different technologies which can be effectively used for the students, because they are digital natives, then they are quite comfortable. So there are a lot of technology interventions happening now. And another one is enabling learning new skill sets. And teachers, both teachers and students, are into learning new skill set to meet the demand of the situation, reinforcing the need for continuous learning. That is another thing. Otherwise, see, often learning stopped with our university education. But now it is possible, or the new avenues have been opened so that we become lifelong learners. And lifelong learning is possible only through these kind of digital platforms. Another one is creating a totally new education vertical. There is also a new concept of new education vertical, where you have different students of different ages taught, maybe by the same teacher, or maybe in the by the same in the same virtual classrooms. And of course, we have the negative influences like closure of institutions, increasing compulsive use of electronic devices. Whether you like it or not, you are asked to use it. Effect, on the general well-being. Of course, we are worried about the general well-being, especially in India. Now it is not normal now. Even the pandemic is going on. Social disengagement is there. We cannot go out. We cannot mix with people as we mixed with people before this pandemic. Denial of extracurricular activities. Okay, though we are trying to have what do you call arts festivals, okay, through online modes. There is, of course, the other extracurricular activities, especially sports, are not seen now. Exposure and experience is also limited. Exposure and experience. See, we have other exposures, especially through social media and other things, that way exposure. So, as the moderator said in the beginning, see, we have been using for entertainment. Why not we use it for teaching learning process? So when we can mix both entertainment and teaching learning process, I think it will be more effective. Then teach and student disconnect is also there, because we used to see or meet our students in the classrooms. We used to interact. Now we are again interacting through online platforms. There is challenges in sustaining relationship is also sometimes that's a challenge. Then creating a sense of insecurity and uncertainty also is prevailing during these times. But there are also, and let me, if you were to say what are the student perception for disengagement, there are many teachers are complaining. Now we are going online, and there are a few complaints regarding what I call student disengagement in our virtual classrooms. And if the teachers and students are in a way known to these different facts, I think it will be very helpful. One is ineffectiveness of virtual classrooms and learning outcomes, because the students have a teacher-taught mindset, and teachers have what you call a class taught mindset, okay, in the face to face. So often people think that it's quite ineffective. Virtual classrooms are a bit ineffective. So we should very seriously think of making it effective, especially using these social media platforms. Then another one is teachers taught mindset. As I said, most of the students and teachers think that teaching learning can take place only in the classroom face to face. And there are, of course, some limitations in interactions which will have to be made up, especially through this kind of social media, which otherwise we use for connecting. Absence of community feeling and class atmosphere is also there, but that can be easily overcome through, in a way, interacting through these kind of different social media, which I think the students are quite comfortable. Maybe teachers are not that, because most of the teachers are digital immigrants. That is one reason why most of the teachers may not be that comfortable in these type of situations. Then the sense of isolation is there, that may also cause student disengagement. Unconducive home environment, see, because homes were not a place for classes before. So naturally, there's a big change, transformation happening. Challenges of technical glitches, that's very important, okay. The bandwidth, laptop desktop capability is a problem. Inadequacy of resources are the requirement for more than one laptop. Then weather, of course, it depends mainly on weather, the internet strength, connectivity issues, power situations, everything is connected. Lack of individual attention, that is another thing. Okay, then teacher learner responsiveness, computer fatigue, okay, spending so much time in front of the screen. The on time screen on screen time is so much, so that it leads to fatigue, tiredness. Then the other one is content conflict. If you are not very careful about using these platforms, there is a chance for content conflict. And how can we address the student concerns? Something very general. See, this is one thing, is to prepare students for change they will undergo by induction programs. That is something which we have been doing in our university. Okay, we have been giving induction programs for students and also teachers to meet the situation. Okay, to make use of these kind of latest technologies in the teaching learning process. So induction programs will work maybe at the starting point, and do not force, compel, or pressurize by overloading of academic sessions. Okay, there should be a kind of flexibility in teaching, so that we are not forcing or compelling, because it takes time for both students and teachers to get acquainted with the situation. Readjust the pace of teaching, and the pace of teaching is also important. Okay, we cannot go in the pace that we had before. We'll have to reduce the speed of our teaching, create student familiarity by facilitating face-to-face online ice-breaking interactions. And for this, social media is the best. Okay, social media like WhatsApp, or what do you call, other discussion forums and networking medias would be very useful for making students face to face, facilitating sessions, and for the breaking of ice. Now, if need be, shorten class. And another one is shorten, we'll have to shorten the class duration, give extended breaks in between the sessions. To clear inhibitions and anxiety, create small group mentorship. That's also can be done in with social media. Small group mentorship sessions so that students feel at home. Use of social media like WhatsApp, as I said, for informal interaction offline with faculty, so that students are not having the threats of this digital transformation. Then another very important thing is enhancing faculty role in classroom from fire and forget to guide and mentor. That is something, a big change. We are not sages on the stage now, but a guide on the side. So naturally, we'll have to forget, because see, in earlier situations, everything is lost once the class is over. But now many things can be retrieved. We can have both synchronous and asynchronous form of teaching learning process. Okay, synchronous, as we all know, is the time when both teachers and students are online at the same time and there is live interactions. And asynchronous platforms are many. Okay, many of the social media platforms, at least a few, are asynchronous. And such media platforms can be used for recorded video tutorials or recorded videos, so that students can come back and study, at their own pace. So let's forget fire and forget, and let's move on to guide and mentor. Now, what is the impact of these kind of latest technologies in teaching learning process? And I'm sure we'll have to change the way teachers teach and the way the students learn. Both will have to be changed. See, there is a shift from knowledge transmitter. Okay, teachers were knowledge transmitters earlier. And from knowledge transmitter and being the primary source of information to a learning facilitator, a collaborator, a coach, a knowledge navigator, and a co-learner. This is a big shift that happens to teachers when we teach through these kind of platforms. And another aspect is teacher controlling and directing all aspects of learning. It was teacher-centered classrooms before, but now it has been shifted. It has to be shifted to student-centered classrooms, where students are given more options and responsibilities for their own learning, which means the students will have to be self-motivated, self-directed, and self-regulated students. Induction programs will have to be conducted for students to be self-regulated and self-motivated and self-directed students. Okay, that is a big change as far as teachers and learners are concerned. Another one, this is a paradigm shift. Okay, paradigm shift would be like this. See, teacher is the teacher's duty to introduce all these different media to students. All these different media. There are social media platforms, latest ICT platforms, technology platforms, all these platforms and the content. It's at the same time, we need to create the content and deliver the content. And we need to assess them, okay, through quizzing and other short, what do you call, interactive methods. So in a way, social media is quite good for all these purpose, because a lot of interaction is possible and students will be free to interact too. Maybe in the classrooms, they may be shy, they fear others, especially in the case of language. But such things can be avoided maybe on social media. But at the same time, we need to have face-to-face classroom. So this is the use of, it is the use of it's by the teacher. It's duty of this instructor to introduce students to all these different platforms, so that for students, it is lifelong learning and it's learning anywhere, anytime. Another one is, see, in the post-COVID era, we need to have these kind of flipped classrooms in the post-COVID scenario, maybe in the new normal scenario, where we'll have to have still social distancing, okay, where students cannot attend class as a whole. Maybe 50% or 30 or 40% of students attend once. So naturally what happens is we need to have shifts. Then this is nice, where we have, see, earlier in the face-to-face classroom, see, often what happened in the classroom is remembering and understanding. Okay, the lower cognitive levels were catered to in the classroom, because we give the class and we were quite busy making them remember and understand what they taught. And the higher cognitive levels, applying, analyzing, and evaluating and creating. These were often done outside the classroom. Sometimes it was not done. But in the case of new normal situation, See, we give the classes online. So the remember what happened earlier in the classrooms, that is remembering and understanding is often done online or offline classes through social media. And whenever they come to our classrooms, okay, in the classroom, we can make use of the time for applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. The higher order skills can be met with in the classroom, whereas the lower order skills, okay, I cannot say we cannot divide into higher and lower order, but remembering and understanding can be taken care of through offline and online classes, whereas in the classroom, I mean, applying, analyzing, because we won't be getting all 5 days a week, but instead 1 or 2 days we'll be meeting. So this is, I mean, the flipped classroom concept, which can be very effectively done for the, and it can help the students to learn better. Now, another important thing as I wind up, see, it is technological pedagogical content knowledge. It's often known as TPAC knowledge, which is very essential for the teachers so that they can teach via social media platforms and other ICT platforms. And what exactly is this? Here, in the case of, content knowledge, see, we often have this, teaching learning process, and we have been learning the content for a very long time as teachers are concerned. So naturally the content knowledge may be a bit strong, and pedagogical knowledge through educational programs, you've got pedagogical knowledge, but the technological knowledge which suits both the content and pedagogy will have to be acquired by the teachers. Okay, then only the technological, pedagogical content knowledge. And when these three domains of TK, CK, and PK happily combine, we'll have the teacher is said to have technological, pedagogical, content knowledge, and the person is set for teaching, using these kind of platforms. Okay, so here what happens is the content knowledge and the pedagogical knowledge and the technological knowledge should happily combine to make a 21st century teacher to teach 21st century skills to the students. So through these different kinds of what they call webinars and other resources, we need to get ready to teach in the post pandemic times. See, we should have the skill sets for 21st century, building a new paradigm. I've shown the shift in the paradigm, that a new paradigm, okay, and web access should be there, then creative publishing things, information management, thinking pedagogy. Thinking pedagogy, okay, whatever goes wrong, and we have to become reflective teachers and the learning environment. Naturally, when we are equipped like this, but there is a problem. It doesn't matter how many resources we have. If you don't know how to use them, it will never be enough. That is something very important. Okay, we have a lot of resources now. We are getting introduced to different resources, and we also different tools, but we don't need to have so many. See, we should be wisely selecting them. There should be wise rejections too, wise selection. And if you can use them, okay, well, and if you know how to use them well, we don't need too many sources. Or if we may have too many resources, we have a lot of platforms, but we don't know if the situation would be something like this. Okay, so what I would recommend, to use technology, use, any kind of technology, whether they are ICTs or whether the social media platforms, it can be successfully used in the classroom only if you have the mindset, not the skill set. Okay, so using technology successfully in the classroom is a mindset rather than a skill set. So that's why I used to say that it's a human ware that matters. It is not the software or hardware, but it is a human ware that matters as far as a teacher is concerned. And what is this human ware? The human ware, as far as a teacher is concerned, is the ability to organize and arrange classes with available technologies. We may not have all latest technologies with us. Students may not have it. So naturally, with the available technologies, teach them maximum, teach them effectively would be a big challenge to us. And I think many of our teachers are into that challenge. Okay, so here, let me remind you, it's a mindset that matters more than the skill set. And this would be my last slide. How we have become during COVID-19. It is said that 50% of us are still afraid, 40% are in the learning phase, and only 10% have entered the growth phase. And what do you mean by this afraid people, 50%? They often grab the toilet paper and hide. I mean, you might have seen, even it happens in European countries. Now they are having the second wave. Complain about having to sit on your ass means you have nothing to do, or you cannot go out, and you grumble and you complain. And often you complain is this over it. Sleep until 12 to 14 hours every day, that's it. And the learning phase would be 40%. This is a 50%, but I think there's a big change happening now because of these kind of webinars and this kind of what do you call interactions, information exchange. Now 40% are in the learning phase. Okay, use the time to learn new things. They are using the time to learn new things, as those who are attending this webinar. Find ways to stay productive. 40%. Okay, give up what you cannot control. We cannot control it. Okay, so just give up and concentrate on what you're doing. Take action with your extra time when you're doing this. Live in the present, not in the future. Work hard. They are working hard. That is the 40% who have entered learning phase. And now the growth phase, just 10% have entered it. Plant the seed for something amazing. They are doing it. Identify this time as potentially life altering. Use
Dr.
the time to build.
Fargesi.
One
Sorry.
minute more. I'm completing. Okay, last
Okay,
slide.
thank you.
Use the time to build something that will have value for the rest of your life. Become mentally tough. Become great at the time management. Develop major skill set. Change your life. That's it. And work smart. So from working hard to working smart. And how can we work smart? Using these latest technologies, especially the social media platforms. But of course, we should use it in such a way, in a blended model, in a flipped model, so that we combine both and help our students. So instead of working hard, we need to work smart with the latest technologies and social media platforms. And I'm sure it would be benefiting both teachers and students. And in the new normal, in the post-COVID scenario, this is going to be the order of the day, where teachers and students will be happily learning and teaching. And wishing everyone smart teaching and learning. I conclude. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Dr.
ma'am.
Fargesi, for your great presentation. Yeah, it is about social media and how to make the students engage in a classroom, virtual classroom. And would you please to send us the PowerPoint slide?
Sure.
Yeah, because okay, thank you very much. So, and please stay here, because at the end of the seminar, there will be questions and answer sessions. Thank you very much, Dr. Fargesi.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move to the next speaker. He is Assistant Professor Dr. Atul Patil, PhD. He worked as Assistant Professor of Communication Skill at the Government College of Engineering, Pune. Yeah. Prior to this job, he works for Symbiosis International University at its English Language Teaching Institute of Symbiosis as a lecturer and senior coordinator for 6 years. His areas of interest include e-learning, computer-assisted language learning, call, activity-based teaching, massive open online course, and teacher training and materials productions. Hello, Dr. Atul Patil, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you have 20 minutes to present. And dear ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Atul Patil, PhD.
Thank you
Atul
very
Patil,
much.
the time is yours.
Can you see the screen? Yeah, is the screen visible? Can you see that?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good afternoon once again to everyone. I'd like to thank the organizer for this wonderful opportunity to present my views. Professor Varghese has already set the tone of event through his insightful presentation. And taking the same thread, I'd like to throw some light on how social media could be used in teachnology, that is teaching with technology, the new normal that we talk about. Now, when we look at language and technology, what we see is because of the influence of technology, language has drastically changed. To give you an example, window was just a small square hole in a wall. Application was something written on a piece of paper. Keyboard was the piano. Mouse was just an animal. File was an important official document, and hard drive was a long, hectic road trip. Cut was done with a knife and paste with glue. Web was a spider's house, and virus was flu. Apple and Blackberry were only fruits. Gone are those days. Now, with the influence of technology, all these words that you see on the screen have got additional meanings as well. So this is how technology has been influencing the way we teach and the way our learners learn the English language or any other language for that matter. When we talk about using technology, sometimes we see that some teachers use it to a great extent where they see that there is an attraction between teaching practices and technology, whereas some teachers have phobia or fear of using technology. And even if there are two metals, like when they repel, they go away from each other, and that is what we see. So with this, what we see that as teachers, we have both these experiences, but students always like to use technology or to learn with the help of technology. And therefore, the question whether to use technology or not to use is no longer debatable. Our students use technology, so we have to also use technology and help them learn in a better way and make the processes of teaching and learning more interesting. At the same time, we have to remember that technology is a double-edged sword. It has advantages as well as disadvantages, and the teacher has a greater role to play and ensure that technology is always used for the betterment of our students and learners. Now, when we talk about education, there are many stakeholders like parents, society, employers. So when we talk about parents, for example, let me demonstrate what happens, for which I will stop sharing my screen for a moment so that you can see my video. So when we talk about parents, what do they do? Parents invite and invest that money for their children's education. So they invest money, and what they want in return is a professional degree. So what we get as an output is a professional degree. So this is what they get, a professional degree. And when this degree is awarded, we see some successful candidates, and we also see some candidates who are not able to express. So when we talk about parents' expectations, they make an investment and they need returns, fruitful returns. But when we talk about students, we see that some students are very confident, they are able to express themselves, they can communicate effectively. But we see a group of another students where they lack in communication skills. And what happens to them? Let me again demonstrate. What I have with me are two cups. The first cup is the teacher and the second cup is the student. And what I also have is bottle of water. Now water in this bottle represents knowledge. There is much knowledge available, and the teacher's job, the first cup, our job is to consume some knowledge. So we consume some knowledge that is available, and now our role is to pass on that knowledge to the second cup, that is the student. So we pass on that knowledge to our students, and when we pass that knowledge to our students, their role is to reproduce that knowledge. So whenever they face an interview, for example, they are supposed to reproduce. So let us see how much knowledge they are able to reproduce. If this is an employer, how much knowledge they are able to reproduce. So this is what you see, the knowledge disappears. So the point that I want to make here is, our students completely go blank when they have to express. So we teach, but do they really learn is the question that we need to ask. And when we see that students are not able to put ideas across the table when they face an interview, for example, we really need to relook at the methodologies that we use, and we need to think how we can boost confidence of our students. And here comes the role of technology. As I said, technology is a double-edged sword. So when we look at the positive side of technology, this is how we can engage our learners more effectively. And let me throw some light on that. Now, if as a teacher, I continue using traditional methods, that is what we call hard work. I'm not saying traditional methods are not effective. They are effective. But now the way our students learn has drastically changed. Now, let us take this analogy of the thirsty crow, the story of a thirsty crow. The crow was very thirsty and it went for, in search of water from one place to another. It could not find water until it reached at a place where there was a small jar of water, but the problem was the level of the water was very low. So the crow got pebbles one after another, put them into the jar, and only then the level of the water could increase, and then finally it could drink water. This is what we call traditional method of achieving something. So this is a story of an old crow, a traditional crow. Look at the modern crow. The modern crow doesn't use anything like this. The modern crow believes in smart work, and therefore the modern crow simply uses a straw and drinks water. Very time-saving strategy, and even the water is more hygienic. There are no pebbles, though no influence of any other material. So this is what is expected from us as teachers. We need to be like the modern crow, use the modern methodologies, because if we teach our students the way we were taught by our teachers, then we are robbing them for tomorrow. And therefore we should teach the way our learners learn. And what we see is there are many popular social media platforms where our students are always connected. Even if they are inside a classroom, you will see that they are always available online on different social media platforms. So rather than not allowing students to use mobile phones, for example, in the classroom, can we as teachers think how social media can be incorporated in using technology and teaching? Because if you look at these statistics, so many people around the world use social media. In fact, 90% of people begin with their mobile phones. Their waking life is spent with media, social media. And with this new normal, because of COVID-19, the number has again gone up. You can see on the screen that everywhere there is a growth in using social media platforms. Now, how our students communicate on social media, if you see, even the language that they use is quite different than the language that we use as teachers. Of course, this is an informal mode of communication. We should not encourage this. We have to have a clear distinction between formal and informal communication. So this is how our students interact with each other. They use a lot of acronyms, and some of these acronyms even we as teachers might not know. So LOL, like laughing out loud, BRB, be right back, and so on. Even they use not only words or text, they also use emoticons, or they also use symbols to communicate, and each of these symbols also carries some meaning. And this is how our students communicate. So they have started using different language. Why not use such language and bring it to the classroom and discuss in their language to begin with, and then of course take them to greater levels. Because as I said some time ago, students are always connected. This generation is always connected online, and we have to use this platform. As also mentioned by Professor Varghese, that Bloom's digital taxonomy is something which can be practiced if we incorporate social media platforms in our teaching. So beyond the classroom, because everything cannot be completed in the classroom within the four walls, and digital media offers us a better opportunity where we can have reinforcements and practice to a great extent. However, we should remember that technology cannot replace teachers. We cannot only have social media and conduct or impart training. The role of teachers is going to be very important, but we have to take what we do within the four walls to a greater height. So what used to happen before this COVID outbreak was only within the four walls, and now the wall has been broken, and now the whole world is a classroom. And when we talk about language learning, it can be enhanced to a great extent when we have a connect of the classroom with what happens outside the classroom. Now, before I talk about how social media can be used, let me throw some light on how mass media has widely been used in the field of ELT. To begin with, when we talk about mass media includes newspapers, radio, television. Now, whatever activities that I am going to talk about, the same activities now can be moved to social media platforms. Like with newspapers, we could bridge the gaps between the outside world and the classroom. Now, same thing is possible using digital newspapers, where we have linguistic and cultural concepts being discussed, and what we see outside the classroom now can also become part of our classroom. This is how we can also help our children enrich their knowledge, their vocabulary. We can teach them grammatical structures, we can help them get introduced to new idioms, phrases, and the list goes on. We can also help them develop their written communications. We can use pictures for encouraging students to write description. Then we can have exercises like loud reading, where we can make them aware of phonemes, pronunciation. We can have discussion, and all these examples that you see on the screen are possible with the help of newspapers. And now we have digital newspapers which can be used for such activities. Multiple other activities where we can talk about weather forecast or photography. We can give a photo, we can ask students to give a caption to the photo, or we can give a caption and we can ask students to draw a picture, then paraphrasing, summarizing, translation. The list goes on and on. We can also use zodiac signs, and ask them to discuss, compare. You can ask students to write an advertisement or write a recipe, book review, film review. So all these things that I have listed on the screen are possible with simple tool like newspapers. And with digital newspapers, possibilities are endless, because you can also have comparison online. You can also create such cartoons using different platforms. Like this is storyboard website, where you can create such cartoons and help students learn different concepts. You can also ask them to create or design such cartoons using storyboard. You can give formats like these. You can have blank formats, like ask them to read any digital newspaper and ask them to write down what is the international news today, what does the gossip column say, what sports news talk about, what is the television guide, science, and so on. So you can ask them to find out such news. You can ask them to analyze newspaper headlines. Then we had radio earlier, where audio was the king. Now today in social media platform, video is the king. So even audio can help, where we have affordable, accessible access. Even our radio is now available online. So with radio, we can also develop students' listening habits and instill confidence in spoken English. In India, for example, the government has taken initiative, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, where they have various channels for education. Like for English, you can see we have 244 programs running for students. So similarly, one can explore all such platforms. Even international radio websites are available. Like there is teacher training program also by IGNU at this link. Again, we can have activities like script writing, interview, and so on. Or we have a platform like Radio Garden or BBC English by Radio. So all these activities are possible. Then television could be used widely. Now again, we have online. Instead of television, we have YouTube. So again, it is said seeing is believing. And as I said, video is the king in today's digital world. So all these activities are possible where students are engaged virtually, and we can use subtitles. We can have video without audio or only with picture and conduct different activities. We can use movies. Now, all said and done, there is a lot of scope for a teacher to explore these platforms. Now, let me throw some light before I wind up on how social media has drastically changed, the way we learn and the way we teach. So there are many networks available with mass media. We can also use social media because all mass media is also now available online. So we have it in form of social media, and the approach that we call small, that is social media assisted language learning. There are endless possibilities because we can use various tools to enhance teaching and learning. And in this area, there is less research also done. So there is much scope for us as teachers to carry out research, and we can have much relevant content to teaching platforms, and it could be supplementary to face-to-face communication. So various social media platforms are being explored. Many teachers or many policymakers think that using and integrating technological tools could be a crime, and therefore even in many organizations mobile phones are not allowed. So what do you say? I personally feel that we have to adopt technology, because if you see, rapid changes have taken place. Television, for example, took 75 years to reach 50 million homes. Then radio, 38 years. Internet, only 4 years, and they could reach 50 million users. Facebook, 2 years. Instagram, 19 months. YouTube, 10 months. Twitter, only 9 months. And games like Angry Birds, only 35 days. And games like Pokemon, only 19 days. This is how digital technology is transforming. So why not use these platforms as teachers and teach effectively? IBM was the first company to sell memory sticks, and that could store only 2000, that is only 8 MB data. Whereas in 2020, you can have external hard disk or 4 TB, meaning 50,000 times more than the first memory sticks. This was possible only in the last 20 years or in the last 25 years. If this is what has happened, let us now as educators think about the next 25 years and teach. Our learners always explore all these social media platforms, whether it is Google, YouTube, Twitter, Wikipedia, Facebook, or the possibilities are endless. So students rely on such web tools more than teachers. So we have to use these tools, and the art of listening, learning, and sharing is possible with the help of these things. Simple examples like for listening, you can use podcast, you can have videos, or speaking a simple activity. Like I divide my students into groups. One group talks about Facebook, one group talks about WhatsApp or Twitter, and then we can have a debate. Who is the best? So Facebook will say we are the best, WhatsApp will say we are the best, and you can have debate. Simple activities like this, even you don't need technology there. You can initiate such activities. Then you can have reading, you can select famous tweets by celebrities. You can ask students to write blogs, wikis. You can have close exercises. So this is how you can deal with all these skills when we talk about ELT. And most of the platforms, Facebook is on the top, followed by YouTube and WhatsApp. So we can also explore them, and there can always be a connect within all the stakeholders if we use social media platforms. So let me quickly throw some light on how Facebook and other platforms are useful. Like Facebook, we have multimedia options, pictures, video, audio, everything is possible. And as the previous speaker talked about, both types of learning are possible. We can have private as well as public groups, and even the shy student in the class can express himself there. So Facebook is the most popular social networking site followed by Twitter and other platforms where you can have communication building and critical thinking. You can have classroom discussions extended on such platforms. And even as I said, tweets of famous, celebrities could be part of the classroom. YouTube, where we have video-based learning, visualization makes things easy. And students can be not only receiver, but also producer of video-based content. Followed by WhatsApp, where the learning can be at self-paced, communication is easy because learning resources can be shared. However, WhatsApp has limitation of participants and the data that you can share. Then you can explore Telegram platforms where there is no limit. Even all these channels that you see are available on Telegram, where students can get ample material for study. Instagram is no exception. Even again, all these platforms are available on Instagram where students can learn. So to conclude, what I'd like to draw your attention to is that social network is more effective and learning is more effective than traditional platforms. And collaboration is something which we talk about as one of the 21st century skills. It's possible with the help of social media, where we can offer more freedom in learning and we can provide wide exposure to the English language for our learners. And the teacher also needs to ensure that he is a learner of his own teaching, and learner can also become his own teacher, and that is possible with the help of technology. And always remember, students learn better when learning is not only restricted to the classroom, and when we involve social media, we can make a difference in the process of learning and teaching for all our students. So thank you once again, the team of organizers, for this wonderful opportunity. I enjoyed thoroughly being here on this platform. Thank you very much. These are my contact details and my YouTube channel, Dr. Atul Patil. If you wish to subscribe, please feel free to do that. So thank you very much once again. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atul Patil from India. Would you please send me the PowerPoint slide, because
Yes.
many participants ask that.
I will, if you could share your email ID, I will send it to you. Secondly, I also wanted to check if there are any questions now, because it's a working day for me and I have some other engagements after this session. So if, can we have questions now?
Okay, maybe we can open the questions. There is questions for Dr. Atul Patil. The questions from, okay, please, operator, you can share the questions for Dr. Atul Patil. Okay, the questions for you, sir. From Ibu Fadila, how is perceptions to our students in teaching online, either they respond on us or not? How to measure their understanding? I mean, is there any application for every platform to check control their understanding? Yes.
Yes, thank you. That's a very pertinent and interesting question. Yes, as I said during my presentation, research in this area leaves much to be desired. We do use, many of us do use different platforms on social media. However, their effectiveness is still not been measured to that extent. Each one of us agrees that these platforms are effective and they really help our learners in boosting their confidence and makes the process of teaching and learning more interesting. However, we should also be able to prove this with some statistical analysis and research studies. There are quite a few studies, but the number is not that good. So we as teachers have much scope to come together, join hands, and come up with some standard and tested models which could be used in using in teaching English and any other language for that matter. But I agree that there are very less such effectively standardized platforms which we really need to come up with. So this gives us more scope for research. And yes, when we talk about teaching or ELT, we have teaching, learning, and then testing. So in case of teaching, many studies you could be, you can see. In case of learning, some studies are there, but in case of testing, that is evaluation, using social media platforms, has taken a back seat. So along with teaching, learning, we should also give importance to research studies in testing and evaluation. So there are very few such platforms where students can be assessed and the effectiveness of social media could be tested. So whatever platforms are available which have been tested by other researchers, we can explore them, but we can also now come together and test other platforms so that other teachers also get some insights into it. So I hope I was able to answer this question.
For the answer, and thank you for your presentation this afternoon, sir. Yeah, I hope to see you again in other occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the next speaker. He is Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba Asad. He is a head of educational technology and TVED research at Sukur IBA University, Pakistan. Dr. Mujtaba, are you there? Nobody? Okay, maybe Dr. Mujtaba is not already in the room, so we can move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. Mulyadi SSMPD. He is a senior lecturer and the secretary of Quality Assurance Institutions of IAIN Madura. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Mulyadi. Are you there? Assalamualaikum. Pak Mulyadi, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Yes, this is your turn to present, sir. Okay. As previous speaker, you have 20 minutes to present, and the time is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mulyadi, SSMPD, that will talk about cultural adjustment experienced by teacher and students of social media as instructional media. Okay, sir, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is my time to present the materials dealing with the topic today, and I would like to present the cultural adjustment experienced by teacher and students in the social media as instructional media. Well, this pandemic, COVID-19, really stressful for us. Some people may think that it is the chance to what we call here something like to be more innovative in teaching learning process, and then but we must see several hidden story from the cultural point of view. There are two reasons why we need to change from classical classroom into virtual classroom. The first is that the spread of COVID-19. And then the second one is the development of information technology. But of course, this change influences the social and academic habits of teacher and students. Let me repeat that this change from classical classroom into virtual classroom influences the social and academic habits. Well, from the media, for example, previously in classical classroom, teacher become the main media. It does not be changed. And then in the virtual classroom, social media become the media in the teaching learning process. Previously in classical classroom, teacher become the only one source of knowledge. But after the virtual classroom, the social media become the alternative knowledge source. From the learning output, for example, we should modify the output or the learning output in this era, in this virtual classroom. And also in the curriculum, for example, we must maximize the use of social media in this kinds of classroom. Well, another background is teacher and students do not have to wake up early in the morning, for example, to have a virtual classroom. They must not see each other for an academic consultation. This is the background. The problem is the change from from classical classroom into virtual classroom or distant learning is it could create the cultural shock. And it makes the teacher and students do cultural adjustment to avoid the cultural shock. You know, the change from classical into virtual classroom, for some students and teacher, it gives the impacts of cultural shock. This is the main topic today. Well, to avoid these kinds of shock, cultural shock, of course, students and teacher must make some, what we call here, a cultural adjustment. The terms of cultural adjustment is the term commonly recognized in the cross-cultural communication. And I adopt this term to discuss this problem. Cultural adjustment is the degree of psychological comfort and familiarity feels for new culture. The terms of new culture here refers to the use of the social media in teaching learning process. This is quoted from Levin et al. In 1993. Well, audience, there are 5 stages of adjustment of culture. The first stage is honeymoon period. And the second stage is the cultural shock. And the third is the initial adjustment. The fourth stage of cultural adjustment is mental isolation. And the last one is acceptance and integration. From the charts, we can see that there are top processes here. And there are 2 bottom processes. The first process is honeymoon period as the first stop. And then at the second one, we see cultural shock. And I'm going to explain you what is honeymoon period here. Well, again, let me quote from Levin. Honeymoon period is the period when teacher and students feel fascinated and excited with everything new. You know, in the beginning of the use of the social media, it seems that everybody get happy. Everybody feel excited with these kinds of media. This is what we call honeymoon period. The teacher feels that teaching is more enjoyable by using social media. With only a click or one click, everything will be fine. They think so. The media that they usually use for casual communication are now enable them to teach and to communicate with students in the formal communication. Formal communication here means to teach, to delegate the assignments, and then to evaluate the students and to publish the result of the test. This is honeymoon period from the teacher's perspective. And then students also feel the same. They feel the first period, what we call here honeymoon. In the beginning of the use of a social media, the students feel that they can do learning from the bedroom. They must not go to campus. They can enroll the class by taking a selfie picture to show that they are presenting in the classroom. And then students feel that they can do the tests inside the house, join bedroom discussion to replace the classroom discussions. And then they can submit the assignments with just one click. These kinds of situations are called honeymoon period. And then the next period in the cultural adjustment process is cultural shock or culture shock. After the honeymoon period, things begin to get more stressful for both students and teacher. The terms of cultural shock refers to disorientation and anxiety experience by the sojourners in cross-cultural transition from classical into virtual learning. On this stage, teacher and students are immersed in a new problems. The teachers have problem in identifying the students' attendance in the class. Just like a previous speaker says, that it is another challenge for the teacher to make sure that the students also present in the classroom. And then the teacher also have a problem in selecting teaching method for the unseen audiences. They also have a problem in choosing reliable and valid instrument for the tests. This is the shock experienced by the teacher. The students will feel the same. The students will often become extremely critical on the new culture in the use of social media in the virtual learning. They feel frustrated in modifying the gadgets to be more compatible with the teacher's teaching method. They also feel shocked in keeping the cellular data on. And they also being shocked in to be noticed by the teacher that they attend the class and complete the test fairly. And they are disoriented with the ebook, voice message, and a video call by using the social media. This is the second stage of cultural adjustment process. And after they get down, they come up again. Now, as soon as they feel shocked, they must make some initial adjustment as the third step of the cultural adjustment process. What is initial adjustment? This is when teacher and students can take care of daily activities. Teaching and learning become easier. However, some individuals still feel discomfort with the online learning by using social media. Teachers start to review the lesson plan as the initial adjustment, and then teacher start to modify the teaching strategies. They ask campus to provide the free package cellular data to students, and they redefine students' attendance and adjust the test model. This is the initial adjustment done by the teacher. after they have a cultural shock. And then students also initiate active participants on social media based discussions. They are more critical, they have more critical thinking. They also, what we call here, have the openness about their condition, about the gadget compatibility, and then they try to be openness in the internet network, and then the time allotment of the test, and then chatting with the teacher inside, outside the classroom. This is what I mean with the openness. That is the third stage of cultural adjustment process. And then after they are in the top level, the second top level, they go down again. You know, now they experience mental isolation. What is mental isolation? The time period for this stage is very unpredictable. Some teachers and students move through this stage quickly, while others, sadly, can be at this stage for rest of semester or neither leave it to feel mental isolation. The people who stay at this stage will have different responses. For example, for they have a positive reaction, they are characterized with openness, acceptance, and trust, and produce report and understanding about virtual learning and the use of social media. This is the positive reaction. And then oppositely, if they have a negative reaction, they are characterized with a suspicion, fear, prejudice, and produce alienation and isolation about virtual learning and the use of social media. This is the fourth step of the cultural adjustment process. And the last stage, we come to the acceptance and integration. This is something dealing with the topic today, optimizing the social media. If all goes well, the teacher and students who are adjusting to new culture will move out of isolation and into the final stage of cultural adjustment. The final stage is acceptance and integration. This stage results the following outcomes. The first is the encapsulators. For example, the teacher and students who keep on avoiding or fighting the use social media as the instructional media for virtual learning. Okay. And then the second one is the cosmopolitan. It refers to the teacher or students adjust to both classical and virtual learning. And the third result of acceptance and integration is the absconder. It refers to the teacher or students who completely adjust to the virtual learning and ignore the original or classical learning at all, as the last result of acceptance and integration. And now let's come to the conclusion. To avoid the cultural shock and to keep the students in the last stage of the cultural adjustment process is we need to reconsider the use of social media in optimizing the virtual learning for the cultural condition. And then the second conclusion that I can conclude is conduct open-minded communication among the stakeholders of learning. Those stakeholders are college, lecturer, and the students, or even parents or the society dealing with this situation. And then the last conclusion is we need to develop more sophisticated application online learning instead of the use of the social media. Well, I think that's all my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mulyadi. It's an interesting presentation, yeah, which is quite different with the previous topic, because you already has discussed about the cultural adjustment for teacher and students. And yeah, I believe that all people must experience culture shock, and they will have different stage in adjusting the culture, and the outcome is maybe the way they face or the way they overcome the culture shock will determine they will be either will be an encapsulators, cosmopolitans, and absconder. Thank you very much, Mr. Mulyadi.
Welcome.
Yeah, there are so many questions for you, but please waiting for the next sessions, questions and answer. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, next we will move to the next presenter. Let me check Dr. Mujtaba. Are you there? Nobody? Okay, let's move to the next speaker, Bapak Dr. Dr. Candidate Abdul Ghafur. He is a senior lecturer in State Islamic Institute of Madura, and he's also an editor-in-chief of in Okara Journal Language and Literature, and also a reviewer in several journals in Indonesia. Many of his articles are published in National Journal in Indonesia, and several books of language teaching already published. Besides, he is also an assessor of National Accreditation Institution of Senior High School in East Java. Mr. Ghafur, are you there? Mr. Ghafur.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Fitri, as moderator.
Okay, you have 20 minutes to present, sir.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Abdul Ghafur. Yeah, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my materials. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For today's conference, first of all, I would like to thanks for Director of EIN Madura, and then the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, and also for all the speakers, my dear brother Fergusi, my dear brother Atul Patil, my dear brother Muhammad Ashad, yeah, and then the other ones as Muhammad Ali Al-Matari, and also my beloved brother Mr. Mulyadi. Yeah, for today's material, I would like to delivering the emerging role of a social media for teaching and learning. It will be best practice of teaching. Okay, let me introduce. This is my profile. Okay, and then what will be covers for this afternoon's material. The first one will be 4.0 era, and then social media, and then the benefit and teacher's role, and then finally we got to the conclusion of the material. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for today's learning, we are entering the mega trend of the world up to 2045, yeah? Then the question comes up to our mind, how can we adapt the situation in educational environments? Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce you first, what's actually the mega trend itself. The concept of shifting economic power, in this case, the population growth is at the heart of the shifting in economic power, the influence of emerging and developing economic that will mean a huge change for our business. society, and also the way we invest. It will be covered on emerging economic are now growth market, and the next one will be the China that will be the new global superpowers, and the next one will be how the global demographic will change. So we have to be ready entering this kind of condition up to 2045. Yeah. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, come up to the model of educational concept when we are entering the 4.0 era. The first one, we entering education of 1.0. In this case, the teacher will be the center of the process of teaching. Yeah, and the second one on the educational 2.0 learnings will be talking about the knowledge itself. Okay, and the next one come up to education on 3.0, and the last one education 4.0. Now take a look on the differences of each other. Okay, on the 1.0, the teacher centers, yeah, the position of the teacher itself as the centers, yeah, as the centers of the process of teaching. The model of teaching only memorizing and others, yeah. The second one of 2.0 era, the learners as receptacles of knowledge. Yeah, in this case, the student take part in the process of teaching. Yeah, such kind of collaborative learning with the friend and others. And there are 3.0 era, the teachers and facilitators. In this case, the collaborative and also the interactive learning could be done by using social networking to solve the problem, project, inquiry-based learning, and others, such kind of tasks that given by the teachers. Well, for today, the education in a 4.0, in this case, learners as connectors. Okay, the learners also creators, and also the constructivist theory that we should believe that the model of teaching, the model of learning will be easier as possible, as we know that web, such kind of as a curriculum. Yeah, there are so many kind of anecdote that asked to the Google and others. Yeah, in this case, the students should be as a producer of content producers based on any kind of innovation and others. Yeah. Okay. Now come up to our mind now for today's. Social media is a big part of my student life. Yeah. They are always checking Facebook update, tweeting to each other inside and outside the classroom. Yeah. I'm so sure that all the participants here will be familiar with this kind of Facebook update, WhatsApp, Instagram, and others, because it is for today, it is our life. It is our habits. Yeah. So the big question is, should I use as a teacher, as a lecturer, use a social media in my classroom? And if so, how? It's a big question. Okay. When I started teaching over 2,000 years ago, the student did not have cell phone. I'm so sure that you are at that time didn't have such kind of cell phone. A few mostly doctors had beeper and pagers at that time. Yeah. Gradually, pagers gave way to cell phones, and suddenly it was not only the doctors who had them. Most students had cell phone. They become increasingly popular and annoying. The beeping was replaced by the incessant ringing. Such kind for today, the ring will be such kind of little bit of song, yeah, and others. Okay. Soon enough, no cell phone in a class. That rule had to be put into effect. As I already done, there is no handphone in my class. If one of them bringing up and also ringing up the cell phone, and then I allow them to a side of the class. That's the condition at that time. Okay, as already tell by Pak Mul that for today we are entering a cultural shock. Yeah. Okay, just now I already saw into a couple of hours. I already saw with the condition because I have to entering the other channel in Philippines to delivering my other materials that actually should be tomorrow, but it will cancel. Okay, it is a kind of shock, yeah. But in this case, the students were no longer getting called; they were getting notifications, yeah, message notification, Facebook notification, every kind of notification imaginable, and I became increasingly annoyed. Yeah, for today, the dawning of the new era. Yeah, as I told you before that, for over 10 years, the cell phone were turned off during my classes. But as the technology evolves, so do we. Yeah, so do we. Okay, take a look on the perspective one. All the time we'll be talking about the phone. We'll be talking about the smartphone. Yeah. The world is entering the second phase of a technological revolution that is completely transforming the way we work and the way we live our life. It is touching every industry and opening up avenues for innovation in some of the most traditional industries. In the sleepiest corner of the world, the education industry is one industry that has not seen a huge amount of change over the last 100 years. The way we currently teach children, school children, I mean, and lecturers, university students still has a lot in common with the traditional paradigm. What already done by the lecturer, what already done by the teacher, only moving the model of teaching in such kind of luring into daring. Okay, it is such kind of something that should be repaired. Okay. However, this change has begun to take place, and there is a huge amount of excitement around the potential of technology to transform the way we teach and learn. Unfortunately, improvement in teaching method and tools to date have so far not yet yielded improved educational outcome. And so my job is to work out to extent to which this excitement is well grounded. So certainly the new technology reduce the cost of education. And then the question is whether it will improve the quality. Again, do you think that it will be improve the quality? Let's we answer together. Yeah. In the social media itself, with the advent of internet technology, social media has become an integral of every student life. Though the social network is easier and convenient to exchange informations, yeah, communicate with each other and stay connected. Teachers and students can use social platform and to stay connected to each other and can use it for educational purpose. The social network are empowering students and educational institutions with the point to improve teaching learning process. Yeah, such kind of SlideShare, Quora, and ResearchGate and others. Helping students providing online tutorial with platform other valuable resource material for enriching knowledge base. Okay, so in this case, as using on social media for learning, the social media engage the student. It encourages participation and students have to change the expert themselves through media they feel comfortable on using. For example, in LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and also for email. Okay, and by using this kind of social media, the student could be collaborate with others. They easily interact and share information, work together on project, and communicate freely and easily. And also the teachers easy to share material, image, worksheet, website, effortless, and others as effectively as possible. Okay, and then by using this kind of social media itself, we could invite the parent and family members into the loop. For example, we use any kind of Edmodo platform. We could invite their parents or their family member to observe how the teachers, how the students take part in the teaching process in every meeting. And it could make such kind of creative and emerging homework tasks. Yeah, by using social media, we could make this kind of such kind of application, for example, like such kind of Quizy, Wondershare, and others. Okay, Now take a look on the benefit of using social media in teaching and learning. Yeah. Okay, the benefit of social media for educators. The first one will be talking about the collaborative learning. Yeah, the collaborative learning itself. It is on social media. Student exchange a lot of information. Yeah, student exchange a lot of information. So why not? As a teacher, we use this kind of platform to encourage collaborative learning. In fact, several institutions globally are encouraging students to forge international partnership using social media for taking up some project assignment. Yeah, as I told you before, the example will be on ResearchGate and others, such kind of LinkedIn and others. We could share with others people to do some kind of project. Okay, and then sharing information. Yeah, sharing information here. That the student are continuously hooked on to the internet through their smartphone and hence rapidly transmit information to their connections. Apart from just sharing views and opinion, they also exchange a lot of valuable information. Yeah, this kind of information is a lot of more than just interesting videos or snapshot and cover useful stuff related to their studies, but also they could exchange helpful information for classes and also examinations. Okay, and the next one will be marketing. How marketing will be used in the concept of education. The social media marketing for educators, I mean here. Okay, for educational institutions, social media is a great marketing tool to reach out to the prospective student. This new media has led education professionals to build a strong marketing strategy to increase brand awareness. The colleges all over the world are extensively carrying out social media studies to tap students that they are connecting with experts on topic via social media. It could be by using blogging, SlideShare, and others. Yeah, the other one will be outdoor stream. Okay. Well, for the next benefit, we'll be talking about how to foster research. Yeah, the social media is an offer collaborative opportunity to foster research initiate. For example, there are so many kind of group in Facebook that allow us to join with them. Yeah, to conduct such kind of research or mini research. Yeah, so in this case, it is come up to our mind. We are going to join with them. We are going to open our mind to selective using, to selective choosing, and then share with them. It is possible for today's learning. Okay. So in this case, the social media itself can help academic researchers compile and produce useful content by working on collaborative assignment and also project. Okay. Next, teaching from anywhere and everywhere. Okay, continue teaching from anywhere and everywhere. It is continuing with the Mr. Mulyadi's material talking about the shock. Everyone will be shocked. Yeah? At the first time, we are going to shock with this kind of condition. But for today, we stay in our zone. Yeah. A friend of mine said that we could teach by using sarung. We could teach by using duster and others like that. This one, it is something that I never done before. Yeah, why? Sometimes it's difficult to address queries of students during classroom session. This make it further difficult for students to clear their doubt. However, such kind of professor or teachers can take an advantage of social media technology to extend teaching hours beyond classroom. They can set up Facebook live session on Twitter discussion to cover unclear doubt of the student. As a matter of fact, the professor and also the teacher itself can allocate a dedicated time slot for online discussion to answer any question or to work with a student. It could be through Facebook session, and then, for example, faculty can connect with large audience at one go which otherwise is not possible in one class. For example, as done for this afternoon. Okay, it will be facilitated by the faculties to conduct that kind of a big class. Okay. The next one, that take advantage of virtual library. Okay. In this case, the setting up personal blog or website give by teachers, that's a lot of freedom to build intellectual credibility. I'm sure that as a teacher, as a lecturer, there are so many kind of immaterial that could be shared, with the student, yeah, with the others who stay far from us, yeah, by using any kind of platform that could be shared as easy as possible using social media. Okay, and the next one will be self-learning. Okay, let students learn from social networking. Again, I have to remind you, by using this kind of media, it will be open up the student mind that they should be in the position of conscious. It will be conscious study. Okay, if they have to be conscious to entering the classroom, they will be entered. If they have the time to read the book, they are going to read the book. Okay, next. Okay, how to use social media in the classroom presentation. Okay, by this kind of a model, we could create presentation on social media. Okay, for example, I already mentioned here. First one, will create a classroom Facebook group. Yeah. Okay. In making a private group on Facebook for the class can create a sense of community. Okay, now take a look. You can post homework assignment and deadline on the group page, and also encourage students to post question on the wall. That way, other students may be able to help us as the teachers. You can also have students discuss reading or topic online or other topic. The students who don't feel comfortable speaking in the class may feel more comfortable joining discussion in this digital space. Finally, you as a teacher, you can even allow parents to access the group and see what their children are learning, as already I explained, by using some kind of Edmodo platform. Okay, by using Twitter summaries, for example, Twitter's characters limit may seem restrictive, but it's a great way for the student to sharpen their language skill. Have students answer a question or summarize a chapter in a tweet? It could be done. Yeah, again, it could be done. And the next one, by using block writing. In ESL, in English second language learning, for example, in class writing assignment, helps student focus, serve to foreground class discussion to ensure that student complete the assignment reading. If the student write on a block, share with the class, it turns from the solitary acts of writing or to a communal experience. Ladies and gentlemen, you can require that the student read and comment on a blog post from a different student each week. This teaches students about online communication. It also encourages communication between students who belong to different social groups. Next will be YouTube lecturers. This assignment can be done in a group or individually. The teachers will choose subject for each group or individually to research and teach in a YouTube video. Since explaining a subject to other and enhance one understanding of the subject, I need to review that kind of topic. Okay, and this fun assignment will also be educational. Yeah, you could even have students study, talk, and create their own. This will strengthen student analytical skill as well as their research and also communication skill itself. Next, the social media provide for historical figure. For example, the student could create, have a student to choose a historical figure significance to the subject they're studying. Then have student create a fake Facebook profile, again, a fake Facebook profile or Twitter account for them. Tweeting and posting, if they were the figure themselves, will require them to do extensive research on the person and the concentration to study. Several online tools allow students and teachers to create this profile, such kind of read write thing, profile publishers, and this Twitter profile template on others. Yeah, and it is important to set boundaries and remind them to keep school and classroom. Yeah, and finally come up to how to be a teachers in distance learning for today's such kind of online teachers. Yeah, it is ready or not, we are should be entering this kind of zone as a teacher's role in distance learning. For example, like such kind of this one, there are so many kind of platform, there are so many kind of application that provide by Play Stores in your smartphone. Try to open your smartphone for today. In a Play Store, there are so many kind of such kind of comic and meme creator. It could be used by the teacher to set up a material with the topic that given for today. Yeah, and also by using photo talk, speech bubble, and then joined by Muslim. So it is possible for us to create any kind of material by using this kind. Yeah, and then the material will be easier for us, not spend much time to create any kind of the material itself. Okay, finally, as a social media network advanced education systems, many helpful and beneficial tools will emerge that can make learning a more enriching experience. Students today are intimately involved with social media at every stage. If you're missing onto the use of social media, you are posing away a lot of potential audience. Using it in educational institution can prove to be a very effective measure. And then the benefit of social media for academic entities are many. The above are just a few. To begin with, social media site other great opportunities for communication between peers and teachers. And then by using the social media, teachers can improve the involvement of their student in studies and education, improve their technological ability, provide a great channel of collaboration in the classroom, and build good communication skill of the student. Again, be a teacher should be ready to open your mind, open our mind, and skill following to this era. Thank you. I back to the moderators. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gofur, for your great explanations and great presentations. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for speakers already presented the topic in line with the social media for teaching and learning in the post-pandemic. And now we come to the next sessions. It is questions and answer sessions. In this case, the participants already stated their questions. And for operator, please show the questions for all speakers. Okay, the questions is for Dr. KJ Fargesi. Dr. Fargesi, are you still with us here? Hello, Dr. Fargesi.
Okay, hello, I'm here.
Okay, the questions for you. There are two questions from Siti Rohana and Agus Budi Haryanto. Is it clear? Can you read the questions?
Okay, what form of media is more useful in teaching and learning process in the post-pandemic? Is the first question which I see, correct?
Yes, the questions, questions from Siti Rohana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And it's a very interesting question, but a very tricky one. Because, see, depending on our need or requirement, we will have to choose different social media and incorporate them in our teaching learning process. For example, see, suppose if you want to create a classroom or something like that, we have WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, and what do you call it, Facebook, okay, messenger groups can be used for that. And some are good. For example, Instagram for some photo stories can be used. And if it's for writing exercises, we have blogs, and we have also wikis for collaborative writing process. And suppose for lectures, if you want live lectures, we have Facebook Live can be used. Okay, we have other platforms. Okay, like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, so many are WebEx, Cisco WebEx, extra they. But at the same time, if you want to use social media as such, okay, you have Facebook Live can be used, or you have the YouTube channel. YouTube Live can be used. Both can be depending on. So ultimately what we need to do, and we have also the Pinterest. Okay, it's an American one, Pinterest, where you can manage the classroom uh, and use it in such a way that and you have what do you call other social media too, which can be discussion forums for information exchange. For example, we have e-forums or discussion forums which can be effectively used for information exchange. And we have also other groups where we can set up classrooms. And if you want to share material, for example, if they are ppts or you can use all these different platforms. Ultimately it should reach the students and it should be effective. So I would suggest you and your students should agree upon what to choose. Okay, what platform to choose, which they are comfortable. And there are technological glitches, there are also bandwidth problems, connectivity issues. So depending on that, and your place, your country, your region, your state, we have to choose these different platforms and incorporate them in such a way that you use almost all these platforms for effective teaching learning process. It's not one platform better than the other. It depends on availability. It depends on comfortable, whether your students and you are comfortable. And all these things will be important in selecting these platforms, and they'll be effective. So we have so many different platforms, and choose wisely. Okay, thank you. Hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Fergusi, for the answer.
And then one more question. It's
Yes.
the use of media as an alternative learning media during the COVID-19 pandemic is very possible for teachers to use in delivering learning materials with various innovations. Correct. There is something that is sometimes overlooked. What is it? How wide social media access makes social media an object of negative market for irresponsible parties. Okay, right. Okay, how to solve this problem? Here again, you have to be very wise. Okay, there are people, see, it as it is said, it's a double-edged sword and it can cut both ways. Okay, if you want, even all the inventions are like that. See, on one side you have a lot of benefits. On the other side, if you are using it negatively, it has its own problems. Okay, so here what need to do was again, most of the colleges and schools have now certain networking sites of their own which can be used. So it's better that you incorporate them. And I think in the new normal, that in the post pandemic situation, this is going to stay. This won't just be what I call stopped. I think even in the new normal, or even if the old normal comes back, we will be using this, but of course with discretion. And also, it would be better that we combine both these media. Okay, that is face-to-face teaching and also uh, online teaching, so that whatever, so it can supplement and complement our teaching learning process to a certain extent and benefit the students. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much for the answer, Dr. Fergusi. Let's move to the next questions for Mr. Mulyadi. Yeah. Is it clear, Mr. Mulyadi?
I've got two questions here. The first is from...
Actually, there are 4 questions, sir.
4, okay. First from Ibu Fadilah, in Madura. She asked how to adjust the culture shock in virtual learning, especially in adjusting our method in online learning. Well, there are many factors of cultural shock. If it is caused by the learning method used by the teacher, I think first you should make some initial adjustment. Be open, be open to your students. Offer the students which teaching method that is compatible first to their apparatus, to the device, to the students' learning device. I think be open to the students. I hope that it can overcome the shock experienced by the teacher and by the students. This is the initial adjustment that I could advise you, Ibu Fadila. And then the second one from Ibu Meli Safarina Firdaus. She asked me how to overcome students' boredom in learning through technology, how to keep students' motivation in virtual learning. Again, you should make initial adjustment. Remember why you study in this college. Remember your initial goal. Okay, and of course we hope that this virus will be over soonly, just like the organizer hope. The organizer think that we are in the post-pandemic. They think that the pandemic is over. That's the first that's the first thing that we need to do, Ibu Meli. You should pray, banyak berdoa ya supaya pandeminya hilang, and then remember your initial goal. Why do you study in this college? That is from Ibu Meli, and then from Ibu juga ini ya, Ibu Widi Iswari. Pak Widi atau Ibu? Ibu Widi Iswari. Is it wise if lecturer or teacher decrease the expectation regarding to this pandemic situation and change from on class into off class? What kind of monitoring and evaluation process to measure the learning process? It was stated on the slide that you need to redefine and you need to modify the learning output or the learning outcome. To do this, the stakeholders of the teaching learning must meet. They must be in one table to talk about it, whether they need to modify the learning output, because teaching learning for some student and for some teacher, teaching learning in a classical classroom would be more beneficial instead of learning in a virtual classroom. So you need to modify first the lesson plan. You need to modify the learning output. And to do this, again, let me repeat that there must be some stakeholders meeting to do this. And then from Kamiluddin Sumeneb, some people have difficulties to use social media, then they were not interested to use that. What do you think and how to solve this? I think Pak Gofur will explain this, how to attract student attention to use the social media. But in my opinion, you should understand that the social media will be used, okay, not only in this era of pandemic era, but when your teacher or when your lecturer leave you for several reasons, I think these kinds of media would be the alternate to substitute or to replace the presence of the teacher. So you have no choice. You must like it. Thank you. That's the answer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mulyadi, for the answer. And we come to the next questions. Yeah, I can read in the chat box. There is a questions for... Okay, but unfortunately the time is over. And please, for Bapak Abdul Gofur, could you please give us a closing statement in line with the topic this afternoon? Mr. Gofur, you can unmute yourself.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
It should be answering the question or closing statement.
Maybe you can do both.
Yeah. Okay. The question will be the example, such kind of the example dealing with the business of marketing. Yeah. Okay. As I already explained in my presentation, the social media marketing it is special for the educators. Yeah, such kind of for educational institution, social media is a great marketing. Yeah, to reach out. Yeah, to reach out the perspective of the students. This is a new media that has led education professional to build a strong marketing strategy to increase brand awareness. So, for example, like this one, yeah, for instance, this one, there are so many kind of content that created by the institution, and then the content itself share to the YouTube and then others kind of social media. And in which part of this that could be say that the marketing itself, it is a media to promote the condition of the school, the condition of the institution, I mean, and also the educator itself. By using this kind of media, all of the world, all of the reader, all of the viewers already known the capacity of the teachers and also for the instructor that have by the teacher, by the school itself. So it is make an easier one for others outside the world going to know the capacity of the teacher itself, so they can easily contact with the teachers. Satkan for today, easy enough to contact Dr. Fargisi to join with us. How? Because of I knowing him from the social media, I'm following him, Dr. Atul Patil, and also the others presenter based on the media, and it is easily for them to join with this kind of conference. So it can be concluded that the benefit of the social media for academics entirely are as already explained just now, that social media side of a great opportunities for communication between peers, teachers, and others. And also by using media, teachers can improve the improvements of the student in studies and education, and also improve the technological ability, and also provide a great sense of collaboration in the classroom and build good communication skill of the student, and also with the others speaker all around the world. Okay, and finally, thank you for the committee and also for the speaker, especially from Mr. Mulyadi, Dr. Fergisi, and others, Dr. Atpatil and the other one. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gofur. For Mr. Mulyadi, would you please give us a closing statement in line with the topic today? Please unmute, Mr. Mulyadi.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Mulyadi, would you please give us a closing statement? Okay, Mr. Mulyadi, would you please give us a closing statement in line with the topic this afternoon?
Well, I should thank to the organizer of this occasion, and please be acceptance and reintegration with any kinds of cultural shock, especially when you are in this pandemic era. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. And next, Dr. KJ Fargesi, would you please give a concluding remark or closing statement in line with the topic?
Okay. First of all, at the outset, I would like to thank the organizers, the university, the wonderful moderator, and Professor Gafoor, and all other speakers. Okay, I was having a very nice time with you discussing the use of social media in teaching learning process. What I would like to say is this is going to stay. Okay, whether we come back to old normal or the new normal, we will have to use social media in our teaching learning process to supplement and complement our teaching. And I would say, anyway, teachers are not going to be replaced by technology, but teachers who don't know technology may be replaced by teachers who know it. That's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fargesi, for the closing statement. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are currently at the end of the seminar. I would like to say thank you for all speakers for your bright insight in line with the social media for teaching and learning. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Fargesi. Thank you, Mr. Mulyadi. Thank you very much, Dr. Atul Patil, and thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Abdul Ghafoor.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
hope to see you in other occasion. But we can make a photo session first, yeah, before we end the session this afternoon. So please, all speakers and audience or the participants, please turn on the video because we will have photo sessions. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And next slide. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Dear Brother Fargesi, thank you for your attention coming in. Is my
Thank you very much, Mulyadi sir and Gafoor, the wonderful moderator, all others.
Okay.
So stay in touch and let's collaborate. Okay.
Yep. Inshallah. Okay.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Bye bye.
Inshallah.
Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your all participations. And for information, don't forget to fill out the link and the certificate will be automatically sent to your email. Oh yeah, I would like to remind you not to forget to like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel, Fakultas Tarbiyah IAIN Madura. And the last I say, I do apologize for many mistakes happened in this afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebagai informasi untuk seminar berikutnya yaitu pengarusutamaan nilai profetik di tengah masyarakat global will be conducted on Friday, November 27, 2020. So please, you can follow our official account of Facebook and our YouTube channel to find out more about the seminar. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.